This Never Throw in the Towel podcast episode is brought to you by UKIM Occupational Health and Wellbeing. They are a healthcare service company with a clear commitment of breaking the stigma and breaking the silence around conversations about mental health. Their mission is to try and tackle the problem with the nation's sick economy with the aim to keep people in work. I just want to say a huge thank you to UKIM for getting behind the Never Throw in the Towel podcast, which is conversations around mindset, mental health, and physical health, with the message of resilience, never giving in, and never throwing in the towel. Our aim is to help and inspire. Thank you. So, welcome to the Never Throw in the Towel podcast. We've travelled 6.5 hours here to get to Invergordon, but it is absolutely worth it because today's guests are absolutely huge in every sense of the word, in strength, size, and weight. But for me, the biggest assets is their hearts and their character. On a mission to try and create legacy and history, they are huge advocates for mental health. They are the strongest men, the two strongest brothers on the planet. Luke is current European strongest man 2 times, with Tom, current world's strongest man 3 times. Introducing Tom and Luke, aka the Stoltman brothers.
Freedom. I felt I was in Braveheart there, that intro. That was class.
Yes, I got that in one. How did I get that in one go?
Jeez, I was nervous for you. Class.
So, firstly, I can't thank you enough for having us here today. We are huge fans. We absolutely love these. We you know, we've met yous now, but we knew yous were going to be top blocks. And yeah, we just want to say thank you for having us. And we've just mentioned the accolades and stuff. But for me, one of the most impressive, nicest things is actually the relationship that you two lads have got with each other. So just take me back. Is that something that was always installed, or is that something that's grew in time? Where does that come from?
I think, me being the oldest of, there's 5 siblings, so I'm the oldest of 5 of us. Tom's, you're 4th, aren't you? 4th in the order. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I was very much more of look after you more. Like, it was more like that relationship. There's 10 years difference between Tom and I. So I think we had a good relationship. We used to always wrestle together, play football together. Tom was about 6'3" when he was born. So Tom used to always be like, "Oh, you've got to get on your knees when you're wrestling me." And I'd be on my knees and Tom would be like about 1.5 feet.
Who won by the way?
Tom.
I win everything.
Be getting me in the crippler crossface and doing this stone cold standing on me and
the
all,
rock bottom.
the rock bottom. He'd be battering us all. But I think we had a really good relationship, healthy relationship. But in terms of, I think where it is now, I think it's really blossomed into like something really special where we have that support 100%. I think we'll probably touch on it later as well. But when men, come together and we do something cool, that's where that real relationship kind of comes in. So Tom and I are very fortunate. We get to compete together. We own a business together. We do this type of stuff together. Yeah. So it's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously as well, like, I'll probably touch it later, but having autism since a young boy, every single person in my family was like a support person to me. And obviously, Luke being 10 years older, he worked away a lot as well. So, when he was away, it was my wee brother that I pallied around with. That was like my best friend as well as my brother. He was a year younger than me, so he did exactly what Luke did, played football with me. He hated football, but he came to football training with me. He hated doing 90% of the things he done, but it was to help me. And that's what it is. So it was more of kind of like a supportive relationship we had instead of being close, because obviously when you're 10 years apart and he's working away and I'm stuck at home with his autism, it's kind of a hard relationship, and obviously then growing up, I didn't ever think I would be able to go to the gym. I thought Luke's going to have his oil rigs, that's going to be him. and I'm going to be stuck in the house, and when he comes home, I'll be able to play football with him for a wee while, and that was it. And yeah, to grow up and be at 16 years old, basically have a different kind of relationship, have a different kind of friendship, have a friendship that, yeah, he's still supporting me, but we're supporting each other. And that's something that I'd never been able to do. Was obviously when I was 15, 14, 13, when I got diagnosed with autism, it was, yeah, Luke was supporting me and doing all the things I love, but then now we can do the things together that we both love. So yeah, it's a very special relationship now, and it's growing kind of every single day as well.
Yeah.
So.
And now off camera, tell him you're the man.
Of course, I'm the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
It's so heartwarming, obviously, as as youngsters, how it was. But when did it really become that special bond? You mentioned Luke was on the All Rigs for a long time. Did you leave the All Rigs to pursue this career, and then was that really when the relationship took it to the next level?
I think probably it was, the oil rig. I did the offshore thing. Probably a lot of guys in the northeast as well. It's a big industry down there. I've worked down there, so I did that for 17 years. And as Tom said, having that like in and out relationship, I was always like in for maybe a few days and away again. So Tom and we like to fanny around together and go to the gym, and it wasn't anything too serious, but when I kind of made that commitment in 2019 to give up that job and go full time, and I think that's where things started to really grow between Tom and I. We started taking everything a lot more serious. 2019, we made the World's Strongest Man final for the first time. I was like, oh, geez, imagine if I went full time, this would be class. Yeah. And then when you feel that energy with someone that you love unconditionally, that you care about, you would die for, you'd do anything for, that's where that beautiful stuff comes in. That's where that really powerful stuff, and then that want to, very competitive in nature as well. So that competitiveness in men, I think, breeds success. It's so cool. It's so amazing to see. And I think that is where, training every day with Tom, and I knew Tom was going to be, like, he sat here the best ever strongman in the UK. And like that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think, for Tom, and he's going to be the best ever strongman. And I knew that Tom had that potential. But yeah, I think that's where the relationship started to grow. I think when I kind of gave up the oil rigs, because with the oil rigs it was a lot of drinking, a lot of partying and stuff, and I was like, right, that's getting left behind, and we both just kind of went into 100%, and I guess here we are now. You've done all right the last little while, I guess.
So I remember, how this came about was I know Dale, shout out to Dale from 3D Strength. So I actually remember seeing him talking to you guys years ago. I think it was on Instagram and stuff. And to see that transformation of how big time and how of a brand you have actually created and stuff. How do you deal with that element of fame that come with this huge success that you have had?
Yeah, it's hard because obviously we're from a small town in Invergordon. I think, up here we get treated as just Luke and Tom Stoltman.
Yeah.
I think every single person knows this, success we've done, and we've helped put Invergordon on the map, but I think it's more like a thanks. They give us a thanks to the community, and they've always been supportive. But, I don't really class as famous. I think I've met a lot of proper famous people, but I think it's like, when I'm going to like Glasgow and when we go to compete in UK, that's when you kind of have to take a deep breath and realise that like it is something special with myself and Luke, because the amount of people that come up to us and say like, not even like, how much our fans are, but how much we've changed their life. It's even me with like people with autism coming up to me, their mums and dads saying like, you've changed my son's life by what you're doing on social media and what you're doing as a person. But I never ever say I'm famous. I'm just a down-to-earth guy, and like someone asking me for a picture is like, it just makes me smile, because it's like I used to ask for pictures when I used to meet these top guys, and when they said yes to me, it would brighten my day. So I'm just trying to brighten someone's day up every single day. And like I said, Glasgow, London is our biggest kind of fan base because that's where we compete. But you know, when I go to Glasgow, I get swarmed a lot, and it's nice. I'm just like, I love this. You know, I love the kids coming up to me and everything. So.
No one's going to miss you, are they?
I mean, I have tried to blend in, even put the hood up, or I've said like if I'm with my missus and saying that's not my missus, and they're like, oh, that's Sinead, so they know my missus, they know me. I can't hide. So
Your
unfortunately,
hood up doesn't do it, Tom. Like,
Well, you know what? Obviously, the fact that yous obviously have still got that attitude of how humble yous are, but trust me, in terms of yous have had 5 grown men in a car jump all the way here. Like fanboys going, we're going to meet the Stoltman brothers.
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as you said we were going to jump in the water with us, we were like, oh my gosh, that's taking our cold water dips to the next level.
Yeah, they're admittedly fanboys, so yeah. But
So can I ask you a question, Tom? Did you ever believe with autism you could achieve what you've gone on to achieve?
I mean, I didn't ever believe what I could achieve, but my family always were the ones that would support me. Because when I was younger, all I wanted to do was play football. As soon as I was able to walk, I had a football at my feet, and for me, that was my normal. Like I didn't feel like a normal member of society. But when I was on a football pitch, when I had a football on me, like I was like, this is me. I'm going to be the next big thing. And my dad said, my family said, do what you want. Like we're never going to stop you achieving your goals. And that was the thing. Football didn't work out for me, and the only reason I started the gym was just to get mentally better, because obviously like having your hood up and just locking myself in my room, it was getting to a really bad stage in my life. So when I went with Luke, obviously Luke looked like a Hulk, and I was like, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be as muscly as this guy. And that's what I said, and like that's all I wanted to do was just to have some confidence. And when I started being able to open up to like 1 or 2 different people in the gym, to be able to ask people for spots, that was a massive thing for me. I didn't care about what I was lifting weights, I didn't care that I was like 100 kilogram bench press or 100 kilogram deadlift, and it was more like I was getting more stronger because I was able to open up. I was smiling in the gym. I really enjoyed, no one was judging me, and that was the first time in my life I'd never been judged. Obviously at school, when you're around other people, even on the football pitch as well, you get judged and stuff, but in the gym it was just, I just felt like this normal guy, and I took it like a duck to water. And when I started then getting into more of the kind of proper training, like Luke didn't ever let me kind of do the chest. It was like squats, deadlift, bench press, just in agony every single day. He would make sure I was on a diet. But from that get-go in the gym, I was kind of already a professional, because I had that attitude of, I'm following in Luke's footsteps. He's already, won Scotland Straws, man. He knows what he's doing. So if I don't quit, and there was a voice in my head saying, don't quit. I've quit every single thing I do in my life, but it was just this thing. I was like, don't quit. And fast forward to 18 years old in the gym, I'd been there for 2 years. I was already hitting big numbers, and I started competing at 18 years old. And when you're against like people from Scotland, when you're against Eddie Hall, you're like, fuck, like what am I doing? Because I thought strongman was just, you go lift weights, you go home. But then it started with all the interview stuff and that, which I struggled with. But if you said to me like, I started the gym to be a professional strongman, I just started the gym to change my life for the better, to find a wife and be able to actually talk to people, and it's been more than that. And that's why I always say like the gym saved my life, and I owe so much to the gym, because that's why I do it every single day, because when I'm in the gym I'm at my happiest, and I smile in the gym. Even if I have a bad session, it annoys me, but I owe so much to the gym, and I owe so much to the people that I've met in the gym, and how they've never gone to me and go like, oh, you're skinny, you should be here, you're never going to do anything. But they've always, it's like a big family. My family have been supportive, but the gym family have been extra supportive as well. So I still paint myself every day. When I see those trophies, I'm like, a 30-year-old boy from Invergordon who's won 3 Welsh Strongman titles. It's like, that's just mind-boggling, and it's just like, this is unbelievable. So
So when did you realise you were special? Like, as in...
The day I was born, probably. No, I mean, I was never kind of the guy that... See, obviously, like, I couldn't do jobs, I couldn't go... And as soon as I watched Luke Strongman, but then I also watched Eddie Hall documentary where he just gave up his whole life to do Strongman. Yeah. And I just said, I think I was a year early or before Luke, I quit my job at like, was it 2017? Yeah, so that's I say 24, 23 years old, so I was still young. I was a week before Christmas, and I watched it, and I was on I was security for a construction site. Went home, drove home, my missus said, why are you home? I said, I've quit, I'm never working a day in my life again. It says, I don't care about money, I don't care about this life, all I'm doing is putting money in people's pockets, and we're depressed. And I watched that Eddie Dodd document, he did that, and I said I can go back to work if I needed to, and it was Britain Straws Man was in January that year, and I said, look, let me just see this year out, go to Britain Straws Man. I did all right in there, and then I was like, right, that's me. My wife had to kind of fund for a wee while, but I said, this is my life. Like I said, I want to go 100. I didn't have a chance of going 100% into football. I want 100% chance to go in this. If I fail, I'll hold my hands up. But yeah, she was just as supportive, just like my family as well. They might have been in their heads like, what the hell is this boy doing? I mean, he's 24 years old, autism, and he's not done much in his life. But yeah, I think Eddie Hall, and obviously Luke as well, but Eddie Hall was the person that says, like, he was one of those guys, you know, that was brought up in a rough area, didn't have anything really going for him, and he just said, right, I'm just going to go 100% in it. And if you have regrets and you don't go 100% into something that you love and want to do, you're never going to be able to achieve. And I did that at 23, 24 years old and not looked back since.
And when I see you talk, there does seem to be this like massive, deep mission, this burning legacy, and you know, you can see that there's coming from a deep heritage. You're obviously so proud of the name. Where does that deep burning passion fundamentally come from?
I think the name Stoltman, our grandfather came over during World War II from Poland, so he was in a prisoner of war camp. He escaped that. He came away not knowing that his family had been killed, by the Nazis and stuff. So, when he came over to the UK, the name Stoltman, he was the only one with it, So he
Nice.
he never raised his head above that, wasn't the parapet, never kind of spoke about where he was from, or was able to kind of say, this is who I am, kind of thing, And that's a struggle for me, I think, as well. To sometimes we talk about masks and we mask ourselves and stuff, but I think the name Stoltman, that is who we are. That's the hard work and this trust me, you will survive. Our Opa, our granddad, he wrote a book of his memoirs. It was Trust Me, You Will Survive. So that's in homage to our Opa. So we trusted him, to get us through. He was the man that allowed us to be sat here today. So that legacy, that heritage of men and women that have fought to be here to make something of themselves, So that's where it comes from. And with Tom and I, when I was growing up, all I knew was just work. It wasn't anything else. So the harder you work, the more you're going to be successful. So we're sat here in a small town in the Highlands in Invergordon that, generally speaking, shouldn't really have much in the way of success.
Yeah.
It's just farmers or some whiskey or offshore workers and stuff, and that's fine. It's whatever you choose to do. But sometimes when you go above and beyond and step out of that, the norm, of the Monday to Friday or whatever it is, and we're trying to make a brand, a worldwide brand. We're trying to make people see that Stoltman, that's, take that mask off. Don't pretend to be something. Don't pretend to be someone. Put that hard work in, be consistent, be resilient, and then what happens? What could happen with you? And I think that's the exciting thing. If you commit to something, like Tom says, when he went to the gym, all he wanted to do was, find a wife, get a house, and do the normal things. But for Tom, that wasn't normal back then. That was so unattainable. It was I'm locking myself in the room. I can't look at myself in the mirror. I've got to put my hood up when I go to the gym. But Tom was consistent. He showed resilience in that every day, going in, doing that. And that's why Tom's the best strongman in the world. That's why he's number one that's ever walked the UK. So if that doesn't that, use that. That's what people, I think, I'd love to see it, especially in today's society where we're struggling, man. It's it's tough. It is really tough. So I struggle. I get anxious, I get social anxiety, I get doubts, I get dark days. But these feelings that come in, don't listen to them sometimes. What is it that's going to make you better?
Yeah.
Turning up is going to make you better. Going to the gym is going to make you better. Eating right is going to make you better. All those things. So that's that statement, that mission statement that we're trying to go with.
Well, that's what this podcast, the main mission and aim is to help and inspire. And when you look at two guys like yourself, when you're big, huge, strong, you can be often put on a pedestal because you've got fame and stuff. But actually, sharing stories like yourselves that shows, look, we used to be that guy who maybe had the insecurities, we had the self-doubt, we were just normal guys, but we took action. And, you know, seeing and hearing stories of you guys sharing that can just help so many people.
Even if one person who listens today gets up and goes to the gym tomorrow and starts transforming their lives to be better, this has been a success. And your words have done that. And I'm sure over the time you've helped many more, and you'll continue to help, which is amazing. And this is why we were so keen to get you.
We really, really wanted to speak to you guys. You know, obviously for YouTube and stuff, it's all good having faces and numbers if they've got numbers in social media, but actually, like, you know, we love the message that yous come from. And one of the guys who's with us, I mean, the guys that come with us, they were just fans. Most of them were just fans. They just really wanted to come and join us. It was only meant to be me and Craig. And but you know, listening to the way you talk, so like, you know, particularly when you do the stuff down to camera, Luke, you know, that when I first heard you talk on that, I was like, when I was watching it, I was on my phone, like, I was listening because it sounds so authentic, and it comes with passion. And is that where it comes from? Like, when you're talking, is it coming from that deep rooted experience?
It comes, like, it sounds a bit cheesy, whatever, I don't know. But when you go into the cold, you guys know it, like this morning when we experienced that, you don't have that noise. And then for me, when I'm sat in the cold, that's when things come into my head. I'm like, fuck me, man. There's no noise there. What's going on? What's the purpose of life? Why are we here? Like, what happens if we just keep doing the same thing that we wake up and we turn up every day? What happens then? Oh, wow, that's amazing. Jeez, I keep doing this. Fucking, I feel so fucking good after it. I'm buzzing, but like, I come into work sometimes and I just feel so good. And when I don't go into the cold water, when I don't do things, I feel so shit about myself. And that's the thing. That's the like magic of stuff. Like, if we know what works, like, we're not stupid. Like, I get emotional talking about it because I still doubt myself. I still have that, because when I don't do something, I listen to feelings. I listen to that little devil in my shoulder doing stuff. Do this. And you feel like doing this. Look, you feel like doing, go and have a drink, go and do this, go into whatever, you know. And I'm like, oh, fuck that, man. I'm not listening to that today. I'm not doing that. So I'm waking up in the morning, doing whatever it needs to do, coming down to see Tom, speak to Tom, train with Tom. Like, this life, man, it's like, and that's what the cold does. It's like, it's amazing. Why are we looking for the miracle of life? We see it every day. We see a sunrise. Like, this morning, like, how beautiful was that?
That was magic.
That was wild,
and
man.
I seen you after meditating as well.
Oh, just like feeling that energy. I just like.
What was that? Yeah, what was that? Explain.
It's just, I don't have the words, but I just feel it when I'm fucking, that sun comes on us, man. It's like, because we go back to primal stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did we used to, Tom will hate me about this, I get into, sorry, but like, back in the day, like, when the sun came up, we're like, oh, the sun's up, it's amazing, we're safe again, we can see, we can feel warmth, we're not cold, that sun takes it away from us. But I was stuck in my own ways and, like, taking things for granted. Like, the sun comes up, oh, it's fine, it's nice, it's whatever. But, like, experiencing that, being in the cold water and then coming out and you're just sat like that, oh, man, that feels so nice. Wow, without that, I'd be feeling really cold. You know, it's just like little things. And just resetting, just allowing yourself to, like, reset. And then we get to come and have a chat. Tom and I get a train later on. We get to eat food. Like, we did something with Wim Hof, and Wim was absolutely wild. That was insane.
That was like my worst nightmare. the real Wim Hof and the Scottish Wim Hof together.
But like, one thing that Wim said, whenever, like, he eats, this is like something we take for granted. Whenever he eats, he feasts. He says, guys, when I eat food, it's like a feast every time I eat. Like, and again, because it's so easy, everything's so convenient for us. like takeaway, drive through, go to get a meal deal, whatever it is. And it's like, if we take it back and strip it down, like, we're so lucky to be able to be in that place now that we can eat. And again, I talk about a lot of this shit because it makes me feel happy, but I'm not sitting here saying this is what I do every day, because I still have struggles. I still wake up, I still make stupid mistakes and do stupid things and don't train sometimes, and that's where it gets. I need to have a wee reset and like look at yourself in the mirror, like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Like, stop it. You know this is a bad way, this is a bad routine you're getting into.
It might come with age, because I'm 42. Now I've turned into a hippie. I'm doing breath work barefoot and then jumping in cold water, and I'm thinking, when did this happen? How did this happen? But I think it is very important, though, with this modern day world that we live in, though. I always say, with social media, with all this toxic stuff, getting in the way, I think we actually have to strip it right back and get back to basics. And those basics are actually fundamentally the simple things, and they're the best things for us.
Yeah. You talked about having your bad days and your struggles. How do you still find that energy every day to get up, eat 12,000 calories, train three times a day? There must be something there that keeps you motivated to do that, because the eating alone is a full-time job. What is it? Is it the family? Is it you? Are you need to do it for you? Is it because you've got Tom by your side to support? What does it for you guys?
Is that what you run, by the way? Is it 12,000 calories?
I'm only on 9,000 right now.
9,000.
You're on a diet.
He's looking a bit sluggy.
But in when you're coming up to competition, what would you roughly?
12, 13.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit. I'm a couple thousand under Tom's.
Talk me through then. What is getting that? Talk me through the food. What are you having?
Oh jeez.
So like Tom will have 10 eggs in the morning. I'll have 8 eggs. We'll have toast, mushrooms, a bowl of fruit, with yogurt, and maybe a bowl of porridge as well. And then after that, it's usually about 350 grams of red meat at a time, with 350 grams of like pasta, rice, whatever it is, and some veg. Then before we train, Tom usually has a cheat meal, so you have like a double burger and fries.
My favourite meal.
Yes.
And we say it all the time. I say it's mad to see Tom. Like, I'll come into the gym, Tom will be sat there in his truck and he'll be munching a burger. And then literally 5 minutes later, he'll have 400 kilo in the bar deadlifting. And then sometimes he'll go and have to throw up and he'll wonder why. But your metabolism seems to be really quick.
Right. How many eggs are you having on a daily basis?
Yeah,
then?
so it is about 8 to 10 eggs. So like roughly a week. I do my diet Monday to Friday, so it's probably 50 eggs between Monday to Friday, and then the weekend it's like, it's not taking the piss, but it's like I can eat kind of what I want Saturday, Sunday, because for me and Luke, it's like a job. I think we can treat strongman like Monday to Friday as a job, then Saturday, Sunday we can kind of do what kind of we want. So we can, like, I go to like some restaurant and eat just what I want, because eating, and I don't want to wake up on a Saturday and have another 10 eggs. I want to have like, I literally have like, say,
12 eggs
a pancake or something. It's like, I usually eat less. I have more like crap food, but I eat less on Saturday, Sunday, because I can't be bothered eating 12,000 calories a weekend.
So I know what I'm like, and my wife knows what I'm like. She has a nightmare. I know what I'm like off 3 eggs and a protein shake. What's the farting like? The farting situation.
Right, that's it. Right. Luke farts and doesn't go to the toilet, but as normal humans, you need to let it out, don't you? So like, I do like 3 or 4 a day. Luke farts every single day.
Tom goes to the toilet about 3 times in the training session. Like, once when we get there, once when we're about to start, once about halfway through. And
at least I let it out. He farts.
I just fart. Like, I don't need to do big dumps all the time. Tom,
my digestion system is better. So.
Tom that's whenever Tom comes into a place, he'll it's like a dog. He likes to go and mark his territory. It's like we'll be doing. We were down. We were down doing something. We're doing something for L'Oreal. And
obviously they're posh. Like, you walk into this posh building, And I was like, I need this.
That was his
Nervous
first.
poop in it.
Went in the L'Oreal head office, whatever. He's just done a big dump. Oh man, that's aye. So sorry, yeah. So yeah, it's pretty red.
So we didn't mean to go down that route.
Yeah,
I was just thinking in my head, wow, this is.
Yeah.
I know what I'm like.
So there's a lot of time on the toilet.
Tom breaks a lot of toilets as well because he's so tall.
I can, yeah.
85 kilograms. They're not made for me. Yeah.
Oh god, that was funny.
It's a question for both of you, really, in both ways. So, what was your greatest achievement, and how did it feel when the other one went each other? So, how did it feel for you when Tom achieved his greatest achievement?
So I mean, obviously my greatest achievement was probably the first World Strongest Man title. I think because when my mum passed away in 2016, I made a promise to her. I said in 2019. I wrote this publicly as well and made sure everybody knew it, that in 2019 me and Luke would come to World Strongest Man finals. In 2020 I'd hit the podium, and 2021 I'd win World Strongest Man. So then I started with a psychologist on 2021, and a week before I went to World Strongest Man I wrote on Facebook, Tom Stoltman, World Strongest Man 2021, because I visioned it and I did all that kind of, just a lot of visionary work and like just dreaming about it, just visualization, just drawing me on the podium, just making sure that I was only involved in myself, and then obviously I won the title in 2021.
Wow!
And the most special moment for me was me versus Brian Shaw, and obviously Brian Shaw is one of the greatest of the sport. He was going for number 5 at that time, and like he was known as the best in the stones and obviously, and like when I went to that line with him, I crumbled because I was like, he's been here so much. He's a giant, and I'm just this kid, and I could literally, this is make or break me. This will make me become a legend, or make me kind of go back to that little boy. I felt like that little autistic boy again that was locked up, so I was kind of like, crap. And I can remember Luke storming into the room. He had all his yes men there, and Luke just went absolutely mental at me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is, I never seen him kind of show emotions like that. Then he just said, get on with it. A few swears and just said, you know what to do. So I ended up just absolutely dominating the stone, and then obviously when I won the title I collapsed to the ground, and like Luke got the moment that I won it on his arm. But yeah, that was probably the most special moment, because obviously it was my first World Strongest Man title to beat a legend like him, and then obviously take it back home to Scotland, and it was very very special for me. That was probably one of the most memorable moments there. So.
I actually remember watching it, and I think I had a tear in my eye when you run over. Yeah.
I mean that's the kind of bond thing with the brothers as well. Like obviously everyone, like Luke wanted to win as well, like everybody does. But like for me to win it and then Luke be able to share that moment as well, it's special. Obviously no one else could because it was a COVID area, but it was nice that my first title that I got to spend it with Luke, because obviously I grew up with Luke, been on the journey with Luke, so it was right that I was able to share the first bit of victory with Luke. So
that's
that's pretty.
That's an amazing story. You manifested.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm not one of those guys that get cocky, but like I was so, with autism and stuff, I was so OCD. I was so like concrete thinking. I didn't let anything. I drew my whole plan up on the whiteboard, and the lady I was talking to, and I just said, look, I'm going to put it up on Facebook, and just actually, because I believe in myself, but if I write it down and see it, I vision it every single day. That's what I did. I said it was out there on Facebook for everybody to see.
Yeah.
I would have been the one that I got a backlash if I didn't do it, but I was.
I think that's massive, though. I think even just for someone who wants to, get better in the headspace and stuff, actually writing stuff down. I've not been diagnosed, but I would put my house on it that I've got ADHD and stuff, and sometimes I'll get overwhelmed with stuff in my head's just like this, all over the place. And I think, and it's something that I need to do more is actually just like write things down and stuff, and manifestation, I'm a huge believer in that as well. I think if you've got it, you believe it, and obviously you don't just have to have thoughts, you've got to put the work in. But I think it's massive that put it down.
I mean, because I had it in my head that I was going to be World Strongest Man, but it's just thoughts. Like if you really believe it, you write it down and let other people see it as well. And that's why I put it on my whiteboard in my house, so people were coming into my house and say, "Are you crazy, Tom? You think you're going to win World Strongest Man?" I was like, "Yeah." Like if I just had thoughts about it, but you can have those negative thoughts. I might not win it. I will win it. But when it's written down and it's out for everybody to see and it's out for you to see, you can never that can never hide
Yeah.
again, and you can never change your mind. It's like,
Yeah.
I made that commitment, I'm 100% going to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas like in your head, you can go, I might not do it, or he's saying, look, he's looking strong, he's doing this. So it's all that kind of like distractions that you have and that kind of fogging that in your head as well. But I never let that happen.
I truly believe, I do believe that if you really, really want something, you can get it.
Yeah, 100%.
If it has to burn, but if you really want it, you can get it. And sometimes you've got to be a little bit deluded. I think sometimes being deluded is deemed as maybe a bad thing, but I think, for example, with you guys or other people who've done amazing things, you've probably got to be a little bit deluded. But if you've got that self-belief, prime example, you can achieve it.
We're deluded every day when we're doing this project. We are.
Yeah.
Because, 3 months ago, if somebody had said, you're going to be sat with the Stoltmans doing a podcast, I'd have been like, nah, not a chance. Pie in the sky. No way. But, we work hard at what we're trying to do and trying to achieve, and obviously, they're paying off.
And another thing that I can resonate and relate to, actually, so this project, it's called Never Throw in the Towel. Straplines, keep on living. Those were the words that I used right at the end of my grandma's eulogy when she passed away. My grandma was like my mum. She was just the utter rock of the family. And straight after the funeral, a gentleman who was at the funeral messaged me, letting me know that he'd been massively struggling with his mental health in a dark place, but the words "never throw in the towel" really hit home with him, and that just lit a fire in actually this project. And I've heard that yous talk about your mother, your mum, and is that where the fundamental deep rooted passion comes from in your success, in your mission?
Yeah. I'm trying not to cry. I mean, yeah, it has to, because Mum, same with your granny, Mum was we talk about it like she was our son, so she made everything warm, she made everything safe. When you saw it, it was like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But like Mum got diagnosed with cancer, I think it was 2014, I think it was.
That's when my grandma got it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Jeez. But I was down in concert at the time. I was on the way to the gym, Spartan Performance, and Mum hadn't been well for a year, and she'd gone for a CT scan. I remember on the way to concert, I'd finished up work, went to the gym, and Mum phoned me and she told me, and I was like, that was like the most shittiest time, But I was like, right, I don't feel like going to the gym, but I need to, like, now's the time. I need to just go to the gym. There's nothing I can do at the moment, so just go to the gym. Went to the gym, did my session. And then Mum was like, look, don't come home, it's fine. I was down there, I think it was a longer trip. So she says, just do your trip and then you can come home and see me. So I knew Mum wasn't going to die then. It wasn't like imminent then, but it was still terminal. So I did my trip and I went home to see Mum, and Mum had told everyone, Tom and Harry and everything, and like Mum was like a strong woman. She was like really tough. And I remember coming in and that was the first time I saw her since she'd been diagnosed, and like she just broke down, and like that was like, when you say things aren't fair, when you're like, this isn't fucking fair, man. Like, what is going on? What, like, but like the resilience that Mum showed, like she had 6 months, the doctors gave her 6 months, she was with us, I think just under 3 years. And like, I say it a lot of times, it's like when you go through pain like that, that's never ending pain, having cancer, having,
Yeah.
like terminal. Imagine, like, I don't know what I would be like if someone said to me, look, you've got terminal cancer, you're going to die. I question myself about me as a person. Like, how would I be? Would I go into self-sabotage? Would I start drinking? I'd be like, fuck it, I'm just going to do whatever. But the way that Mum dealt with it, that's what I would like to be able to think. I would be like that. do things for your family. Like, even up in, Mum passed away on a Sunday, on the Wednesday, Mum was still making, I've still got them in the freezer, I talk about it all the time, but pear tarts, Mum was making pear tarts. This was her thing. And I've still got like about 5 in the freezer. But when I went to see her on Wednesday, because we have a house next to where Mum, or Dad's house, Mum and Dad's house. So I walked over, it's only a 20-second walk, and Mum was mixing, you know, the mixer bowl. She was breaking the eggs, she was putting the shells in the bowl and putting like the egg white and egg yolk in the bin, and she was like delirious, you know. And so like, Mum, come on, let's have a chat. Don't worry about the pear tarts just now, they'll be fine. But you could see that like the pain was just etched in her face, and she would never like give in to that. So now when Tom and I are competing, we're like, fucking hell, this isn't pain, this isn't real pain, this is just superficial bullshit. Doesn't really matter. Like, if we tear a bicep, break a leg, it's not life ending.
Yeah.
But
you know, you know what? It's mad here when you say all that. So my grandma was from Belsill, just outside of Glasgow. That's where she was from, and that's what seeing how she dealt with adversity, the strength in her character, how she never flinched, and that was the message that I wanted to just put out there to everyone: is if you've got adversity, that's how you should be. Is like my grandma. She never threw in the towel, and she done everything she possibly could to keep on living. And I think you can get that's how you deal with adversity.
That's mad.
And then obviously since then you've both had, and we didn't get onto yours, Luke, but your greatest achievement, and what would that be from yourself?
In terms of strongman, I think I look at my individual titles, and it's brilliant. You know, winning Europe's Strongest Man the first time was amazing. But I think when Tom and I we were the first brothers in history to make the World's Strongest Man final in 2019. So I think for me that was that moment, I think, for us, that like really you're doing the first time ever, and no one's ever done that. And you know, I hope other people can take that as inspiration. But doing that with my baby brother Tom, like, who's an absolute monster. But like, I just think that is like such a, like, the story of it all, and like how that came to happen. It doesn't seem real in my head, you know, how things like that happen. So like that was really special for me, because Dad was there as well in 2019.
It was Father's Day on the final as well. Which
So like,
really, you know what though? It's I don't know what I believe, but you know when stuff like that happens, there's got to be something else, hasn't there?
Oh, there has to be. Oh,
like
it doesn't just happen by chance.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about religion and everything, but I personally, I think we've there's someone or something pulling the strings. Like, it has to be. Like, why is it we're sat here today? Why is it your granny and our, you know, we've got similar stories?
Yeah.
Why is it we all like cold water? Why is it like there's like too many like coincidences? in life.
Well, we done a podcast, and honestly, since I heard this quote on this podcast, it's just made me thoughts go and just think like, wow. And it's a quote by a guy called Napoleon Hill, and it says, in every adversity, in every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of a greater or equal benefit. And it just made me think of, you know, like how, you know, you can have those lowest points in your life, some heartaches, but actually, if you keep on digging away, you can, you know, like when you talk about your history and what you have done since those hard things in life, that you can achieve great things.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, I mean, you'd speak to anyone, it's like, you have to go through those low times to really appreciate, like, the highs. I think, like, what is it that, if not, then, you know, if you're running at a kind of maintaining a level, and this is something I kind of struggle with. We spoke to psychiatrists, therapists, and stuff. Like when you're doing therapy and speaking to therapists and stuff, they say about keeping that level, like. But I think some people just operate outside that level, so you need that lows to marry up with that highs. But what I'm realising, personally speaking, is that I need those lows to be filled with more wholesomeness. So rather than me getting into a low and like acting out and doing the stupid things that I would do, I need to build that baseline up a little bit, rather than being right down low. And I think that's what Mum did. Like Mum was like right into the garden, like she was like, yeah, she grew sunflowers all the time. Her dad plants 8,000 sunflowers by hand every year, which is mad. Like Dad's not young either. He's 70 this year, and he's out planting every sunflower by hand. And yeah, I think those low moments will become the moments that kind of make you, don't they? As it was, make you or break you, innit? And hopefully, we're all strong enough, or we're getting stronger to allow those moments to make us. Personally, I hope anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 18 months ago, I was in a really bad place. I was, if it had ended then, I was okay with it. And I look to 18 months later, and that was, the lowest point in my life, to 18 months on. Now I'm sat here with used to thriving, having, we just had a fantastic 2 days, and it was set around coming to see used to. And I look back and I think 18 months isn't a long time in a life, in our lives. And I look now and I think, wow, if I had given in then, I would never have been able to share this experience with my kids, my grandkids in years to come. And to say that, even though it was low, I'm never going to win a world title in anything. But for me, this is like a world title to have my own podcast with one of my best mates, and to be sat here with you two like inspirational figures. So for me, if I can give anybody a message, it is, don't give in, because things can turn around and quickly. 18 months is not a long time. Yeah. But I want to ask, what's next for the brothers?
For strongman, I want to win another 3 shiny gold trophies there. So
yes.
I want to be the greatest strongman of all time. I think that when I have a vision of like doing strongman, there's no point in my eyes stopping at 1 or 2. I think I put my body through hell for 10, 11 years. Why don't you just do it for another 5 or 6 and be the greatest? Like,
you've made that sound very simple.
That's how my brain works. I mean, Mari Pusinos has been the greatest for a long, long time, and everyone wants a Scottish guy to be the greatest of all time. So that's me. I think I've got the tools, I've got the capability, I've got the mindset to do that as well. And obviously, being 30 years old, I don't want to do this sport till I'm 45, 50. I want to maybe do it for another 6 years and run away. And that's the biggest goal for me is if I can be the greatest strongman of all time, world's strongest man, it'd be. I mean, three's good, but like I'm halfway to being the greatest, so I don't want to stop here. So that's the biggest goal in strongman for myself. And then obviously, I know away from strongman, it's of course keep building the business. I think where we've come from, like 4 or 5 years ago, where we were selling clothes in a gym in a wee back room in our gym with one spicy design, and now we're got like an office with podcasts. We've got our own merchandise now. We sell around the world, social media, YouTube. We get to travel to great places and do great things, and that's the thing for myself. You kind of, when you win these big competitions as well, you open your eyes up a wee bit and go like, I've been invited to some great things over my life with strongman, like Soccer Aid, for example, and all these things that strongman has given me that door, and you meet so many cool people on the way as well. And there's more you can know as well. Strongman, has paid the bills and helped myself and Luke, but there's so much more to strongman as well. And I think that's what me and Luke are doing, is that you can't just live off being a strongman. You need to grow you need to get a business, you need to grow, because one injury, your career's over with. So and I think that's what myself and Luke are really good at. And yeah, I'm just I just live day by day, I don't like to look in the future. I don't like to look in the past. The past is the past, and whatever happens there's happened in the future. We're in control of the future, but we're also in control day by day. So I wake up and whatever that day gives me, it gives me. But I'm just thankful that I'm able to, breathe and change my life around, inspire people with autism, have a great family, have great friends, and have people that actually care about you, because you know you can have these guys that jump on you and go, oh, look, Tom Stoltman is now famous, look at him now, he's done this, and you know I know those people, and you have to keep your family, you have to keep your circle small. Sorry, and I've got a very supportive family. We've got some very supportive friends as well, and we've got people that generally care about us and want us to grow. And like I said, we're rooted in Invergordon for the rest of our lives. And although we may travel away, we're always going to be back here. And this is what we want to do. You know, we want to have a HQ where there's going to be a next Tom Stoltman, the next Luke Stoltman for a world title, not even in strongman, but in any sport. So that's kind of my biggest passion, is to, you know, be the greatest strawman, help the business, but also help people with autism, because that's a massive thing in my life. So.
You know what's it been like listening to you talk? I think you articulate so well. Is that something that like you've had to work on and stuff? And does that come with time?
I mean, if you look, if you knew me like 7-8 years ago, geez, when YouTube and that, when I started, like obviously, like even with strongman, you know, I was physically. Luke was saying I was physically the next best thing and the big thing, but like I said earlier, I didn't know strongman had anything to do with cameras and microphones. And when I got an interview, and I just collapsed. I was just like, Luke can talk, so Luke did all the talking for me. Right. When we did our first YouTube video, I was like, "Hi guys, Tom Stoltman." And he did all the talking. I was just like, I didn't want anything to do with YouTube, because back then I just wanted to be a strawman. I just wanted to be a good strawman. I didn't want any distractions. Right. I didn't know how to deal with all that other distractions. So obviously it comes with the bigger you get in the sport, the more fame you kind of get. So I just had to practice. I just had to put cameras in the gym, put loads of different cameras, loads of different noises in the gym as well. Because obviously when I started doing stadium ones as well, I was like, shit. Like, listen, I thought it was football. This is 5,000 people. And I remember once I came last at Britain's Strongest Man because I had to walk out the arena because I couldn't do it. I was like, and I said to Sinead, my wife, I'm not doing strongman ever again, because I didn't know strongman was like this. I thought it was just, you go compete, you go home, and that's it.
Caveman.
And I was like, shit, there's interviews here. So yeah, it was just about, like I said, you know, putting myself in very uncomfortable situations. And I think my whole gym, even at 16 years old when I went to the gym, I was in an uncomfortable situation since I stepped in that gym. And even my whole way through from 17, 18, 19, because I was always doing new things. You're like, stepping into the gym's a new thing, and then going to go compete, going to other gyms, going to meet different people. And you know, I just had to put cameras in my gym. I had to make a studio where I had to put cameras, different lighting, different crowd noises, so I could then get used to all that and then go to a competition, and I was used to it all. But obviously, you know, having autism, you have to kind of just do that kind of stuff that, you know, Luke can just go and compete in front of 20,000 people, be a bit nervous. But for me, it's total different. It's like I'll break down, I'll start crying, I'll need comfort, I won't be able to do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's hard, but it's one of them things. It's nothing's easy in life, you know. And I've lived with autism my whole life. Still to this day, I break down and do. You know, we all have struggles, but I knew physically I could be the best strongman in the world. So it was how could I get myself mentally to that stage? Yeah, and it was just putting myself in uncomfortable situations, talking to people, getting all these different cameras, and you know, because if this was 5 years ago, I would have been like, nah. Really? I would be like, hi guys, and that's it, and he couldn't do all the talking. So so like that's massive. Even having like even just when we had our YouTube guy, like I was comfortable with him. But again, the first YouTube video, if you look back, you'll see it's I'm Tom Stoltman, and that was it. There was no talking. Luke came into interviews with me, he'd do everything with me, and that's it's like it's not fair on Luke. I say it's not fair on Luke. He's an athlete. I have to. I'm 16 years old, 17 years old, 18. I have to be a man and do this stuff myself. So yeah, I just kind of took things into my own hands and practiced, and it made, you know, obviously the first time doing it, it just got easier and easier and easier. Then now I can just talk for Britain.
Captain Charisma now. But it is a little bit like it's almost like a boxer. Like, you know, you've got to be good at boxing. And fundamentally, that's number one. But actually being good on the mic, it like massively helps
in the build-up. We touched a little bit about this in the water actually earlier, on how Tom is so disciplined. But how do you maintain that level of discipline? Because, you know, you can't have 6 months off the diet, the training a year, and then just train for 5 months and then do it at a competition. You know, how do you maintain that level of discipline?
I think probably for both of us, because it's such a, like, we see this as a very privileged situation that we're in. You know, we've worked really hard to get here, and now it's not, it's just our life. Yeah. That's what life is. It's like, wake up, you have your food. We know, again, it's sometimes you might not feel like doing it, but then you've got to overcome that kind of feeling and think, well, actually, I'm not going to listen to that little voice in my head and say I don't feel like doing it, because I know this is going to be amazing. This has opened up so many doors. It allows Tom and myself, Tom's got he's just moved into a new house this year. I get to be at home every night with my wife and child, which is amazing. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to go back on the oil rigs. So, like, I never made excuses when I was offshore on the oil rigs. Like, it's just something I did. So why would I make excuses now when it's dead easy? It's like, in respect to having more time, I've got more time. So it's like, we've got our own gym, we've got our own nutrition, we've got our own diet, we've got all these amazing things. So like, when that little voice comes into me, I'm like, oh, geez, I don't want to train today. I'm like, right, have a coffee, let's get in, sit on the bike for 5 minutes before I start training, and then that restarts that mindset. And a lot of people like say, oh, without me, there wouldn't be a Tom. But like now it's completely switched. Like without Tom competing, Tom being the best ever strongman, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be sat here talking about me having 2 Europe's Strongest Man titles, wanting to, podium next year with Tom at World's Strongest Man. Tom is the reason that I'm here, and it is a privilege and an honour to be training with the best strongman that's ever been. Like it's like if someone said to me 10 years ago, right, you'll get to train with the best strongman that's ever lived. Like, fuck off, don't be stupid. And now I get to do it like all the time, which is like,
day,
blows my mind. It's like, Jesus, that's my little brother Tom, even though he's...
It must be like, although it's individual and there's probably a little bit of healthy competition, but the fact that, you're the big brother, there'll be that element of like so much satisfaction that, you've played a huge part of bringing him on, like from a confidence point of view and the strongman.
Yeah, it's massive. It's like, when Mum, we were very fortunate not fortunate, but we had time with Mum when she was sick. And like, Mum said to me, like, look after Tom, make sure Tom's okay, So like, I feel that I'm doing that okay. I've done that okay. That, like, again, I'm not the reason that Tom's World's Strongest Man. Tom's the reason why he's World's Strongest Man, because of his commitment, his resilient, him waking up every morning, training like a beast. Like that doesn't happen if you don't have that. But like, I still love the fact that we get to look after each other. We get to travel together. Tom checks in on me every day. I check in on Tom every day. When we go away, if Tom's on a holiday, we'll still check in on each other. Let us know when you get there. How's the flight? Was it okay? Yeah, it's okay. So we have that like relationship, which is so cool. So yeah, it's just that ability to be competitive but have that love, and like, I want to beat Tom. Of course I do. If I beat Tom, then I know I'll become World's Strongest Man. Like,
It's still a fun fight.
See the size of the
We'll end up hospital trip.
Jeez, my brittle bones, man, would break if he did a crippler cross facing me now. Jeez, no chance. But it's such a privileged thing to do, But we have, like you say, we have done that. We have, like, worked really hard. We've done, we had to set up a gym in Mum and Dad's old gardener's cottage, and like the concrete and that was that old that it all crumbled when we were deadlifting and dropping stones on it. Then we took it out onto Dad's got a little tarmac road. And then when we're deadlifting, there's still dents in it now, So like, he was raging because it was like dents, and whenever it rains, it has puddles, So, but it's, now we're sat here like, yeah, it's really cool to World's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man. Like, it's a success story, of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not like been through like really, really hard work. It's like, we've had people come and train with us in strongman, and they'll maybe last like an hour or so, and it's like, Jesus, this is really hard. And it's like you're putting your body through a lot. Like it's really, really sore. Really, you wake up in the morning and
if you this might be a U-turn of questions, but like, you're extremely humble, nice men. To be the strongest, the most alpha male champions that can be as a man, probably, and the fame, almost not a little bit of overnight fame. Are you ever conscious about the ego or anything kind of running wild with sometimes what comes with fame and stuff? Is that something you ever have to have a check on or you're aware of? And like I said, I know you're extremely nice, humble guys.
I mean, I'm confident with Luke, you know. I mean, it's, the thing is, we put each other in our places. You know, like Luke would say to someone, "Oh, you know, I'm your strong man." I'll just bat in and go, "Well, I'm the best in the world. So what are you going to do about it?" So, like, you know, that's just friendly about it. But I mean, we've learned. Like, I mean, our mum and dad have disciplined us to like. Oh, I mean, we're always humble. At the end of the day, we're in this position through hard work, sacrifice, and and putting a lot of our life on hold. And it's only myself and Luke, obviously family, but myself and Luke that have worked this hard to get to where we are. So, like, I'll never go around and say to people like, "Oh, I'm the best in the world. What are you going to do about it?" Like, like people say to me, "I'm the best in the world," but I just like to be known that I'm Tom Stoltman, one of the best in the world. You know, I always say to people like, don't say, "Oh, you're the world's strongest man." Just call me by my name, because, like, that's how I have known since I've been able to walk this earth. And that being the world's strongest man, you could get a bit like, cocky and stuff. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I say it in front of my friends and stuff, because that's what friend groups, and that's for
of course,
family. Like, if they try and bat in and stuff, I just put my foot down and go, "Look,
I still talk about winning Big Brother. That was 205.
There's things in the world. This title's always going to be with me now, but I always know where I've come from. I mean, I come from a small place in Invergordon, and like, you look at I know I'm a massive football fan. I followed football around the world, and I know how football players act, and I know how like some kids and that get disappointed when they don't give their time to them, or they just walk past them like they own the place. And that's something I never want to be like. I want to be able to give every single person the time, because at the end of the day, the kids, the parents, they've paid for me to watch me, and look, they're paying for our merchandise. And if you can't literally stop for 2 minutes and talk and make someone's day, and then they talk about you and go like, "Mum, Dad, look what Tom Stoltman did to me," and you look at these other footballers that are earning a ridiculous amount of money, probably the biggest ego in sports, and like they just walk around and they don't have any time for fans, they don't have any time for a lot of people, and then you're like, I don't want to be like that. That would put me off takeaway, and that's where I've got it from as well, is looking at other people, but also the family we're from as well. Like, we're down to earth and we're always going to be grounded, and keep this ego away. But when it comes out for looking now and then, and none of these, walking up to people and going, "Who I am, I'm the strongest man in the world." That's not me. I would never do. And if I did that, Luke would tell me off, my family would tell me off, and it's basically you're embarrassing your Stoltman name, and you're embarrassing a lot of people around you as well. So.
Yeah, your feet are well and truly still on the ground, and that's good to see. And good to throw up a question back to you, Tom. How did you feel when Luke won Europe's Strongest Man, knowing that he'd won it a second time, and you had a massive influence on him winning it a second time? You were the one that kept him motivated.
Yeah, well, the first time I had COVID, so I was watching it from the house, but I always believed in it. But I think, it was for both of us. Obviously, we both lost our titles last year, and I think winning titles is an easy thing, but I think going back to try and retain it and then losing your title is hard, because I think when you lose something that you worked so hard for, like you can't have that thing, "Now I'm not the best in the world, now I'm not Europe's strongest man." To then this year, in January this year, we said like, we need to get our titles back. I need to get Britain's strongest man. He needs Europe's and I need worlds. And like last year, we didn't work hard enough. That's where you go. But we didn't sacrifice. We weren't determined. I took loads of time off. Luke took loads of time off. When you take loads of time off a sport, you're never going to get your best. Yeah. It's a thing that there's no hiding from it. So, when Luke said he was doing Europe's strongest man, I've never done Europe's because I think it's too close to worlds, and I wasn't going down, and I was like, right, it'll be him versus Alexi. Alexi's a great reigning champion, and I think Luke was just, you just done by yourself, were you? You didn't have, no.
I just by
So I was like at 7 o'clock on the Friday night, I was like to Shade, let's drive to Europe's Strongest Man, let's drive to Leeds. So I literally got in the car, but I got to Glasgow and all the roads were closed, and I was like, is he worth it? Should I turn back? I was like, and then Shade was getting out, I was like, So then anyway, I got lost in the sat nav, but I ended up getting on the road. So yeah, got down there for like 5 a.m, and I sneaked into my hotel room. And then Luke.
You've never snuck into anything.
I was on the stretcher, so I was lying down. And then because Luke does this like cold water thing in the mornings before competition, like 6, 7. So I knew that if I get down for like 4 or 5 a.m, I can go to bed for a wee while, wake up. And anyway, so he was down in his pickup, and yeah, I kind of obviously surprised him, and yeah, he was like, "Who's that big fucker?" And I was like, "Who is it? Who do you think it is?" And then so then that was it, and I think that automatically has that boost because, like, you know, I walked into the breakfast place and they're like, "You're here. Why is Tom here? Why is Tom here?" That automatically then puts a doubt into every single athlete going, he's not competing, like, or who are you here? Like, no one knew I was coming, so automatically we had already won before we even stepped off.
That was that on, like, that's a great bit of psychological warfare there. Was that on purpose?
No, I was half asleep and just wanting coffee. I did my thing for Luke. He went to just call, like, we're gonna get food, and I just start. I think you and someone was there as well, but our business manager was there and our video guy. None of them knew either, so I just surprised everyone. Yeah, I just went in, but everyone just came up to me like, "There's no way you're here to compete." So that's automatically then a win, and then just being at Europe Strongman, man, you know, I knew I had to be there because it was a very important title. Obviously, like I said, when you lose a title, it's so hard to get it back, and I think you're a real champion if you can get your title back because you know it's a hard one. And I was like, I have to be there, and yeah, like Luke put on a flawless show. I was in his corner. I know what Luke needs. I know I'm not one of those guys that goes, "Oh, you're okay, you're this." Like, we're brothers. We've done this sport so long, and I just knew that if I was there in that corner, the size of us, the energy we bring with each other, it intimidates anyone. And you could see that as strongman. Like, I knew as soon as breakfast when Luke was at the war, I said, "Luke's won this." Like, because, like, you know, when people start coming up to you and going like, "Why are you here? You're doing this, you're that," it's like, why are you asking me so many questions, mate? I'm just here to support my brother. So and that was it. You know, he went and did his job, and yeah, to see him win Europe Strongman Man again, it was a big thing, and that gave me motivation as well because we had the Britain Strongman Man title back, we had the UK Europe one, and then I said on the mic that day, it's my turn. You know, I have to go out to World Strongman Man, do what Luke did, and get my title back. And I know how hard it is because obviously you've lost your title, and to get a title back after losing it, I mean, it's so hard to do, and you just have to. You know, Luke was 100%. Luke was 20% better than he was. You have to be better than you were when you won it, and that's what Luke was as well. So yeah, it was unbelievable to see, and it was nice that I was able to go and give him a bit of support of all the support he's given me. Because but I'm not doing that drive again. That was the most important title. He's done it, and that's it. Like, so
you're on your own
trust
now.
me, got all the roads closed, torrential rain and everything. I had to go all the back roads. I was like, wow, this is a long journey to Leeds. So, but it was worth it in the end.
It was class having him. It was mad having him, because he's so big as well. You know, when he's standing behind you, everyone's looking at him like, holy shit, he's massive.
I must admit, I knew he was going to be big. We met you this morning. I genuinely got a fucking shock. how big of a man you are. Like,
this is me smaller as well, so you know, it's
which is disgusting. He's so massive, man. He's but again, that's just over years and years and years of training, and you know, geez, he's it's funny when Tom walks in the high street or in the town centre or whatever, you see kids just looking at him like that. Like, some people are crying, some people are laughing, I don't know, babies are screaming like, Godzilla.
I'm notorious I don't see any of that stuff. Everyone, like, even my missus is like, she comes up to me like, because I'm walking in front of her, she goes, I was like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like, these little people keep looking at you, they're stopping taking photos. I'm just notorious I just walk away, but obviously, like, they see it, but I just it's a thing now, you get used to it, like, so that's funny. When even our video guys, something stops and zooms in at people watching us and stuff, but I think we're notorious to the world of it all.
Keep
we
your
just
head down.
It's funny, man.
Get the hood back up and that's it, fine.
Yeah. So we always finish on the podcast. Life's a journey. It's just a bunch of experiences. Those experiences are all stories. What is your best story? What is the story that springs to mind where, you know, if someone said, "Look, just tell us your best story," and that's to both of yous. That you're allowed to say on camera.
Yeah, I think so.
This isn't my proudest moment, but you learn.
Looking forward to this.
So basically, I'm a massive football fan, so I'm a massive Glasgow Rangers fan, and I've been following them since, you know, a young kid. Anyway, as you know, football supporters buses / alcohol is a very, very common thing when you get to. So anyway, I was 18, maybe 19 at the time, and we were going down to a football game, and it was on the. So I went to the football game. I think it was on the way back. There's like we had a bottle of vodka on the bus, and also my mates were taking too long to give me the thing, so I torpedoed it. And
a bottle of
a bottle of vodka. But it's all back. So this story's now from other people's saying it. So anyway, I was like for 2-3 minutes afterwards, just kind of rocking back and forth, and then all of a sudden, my eyes went in the back of my head, and I had 2 mates here, 2 mates there, and they seen sick going down. And obviously they were all just joking, like singing, like, "Oh, Big Tom Spew, oh, Big Tom Spew." And then when my eyes went in the back of my head and my tongue went down my throat, my mate had to pull my tongue out, so he saved my life.
Whoa,
and,
whoa.
I was like 18, so I was like maybe 120, 30 kilograms. They couldn't get me out the front door, so all the ambulance had to smash the fire exit doors, drive me out of there. I was just literally, at this stage, they just said I was unconscious. I didn't know where I was. I was just all over the place like a big floppy salmon. And so then I think this was like 2 p.m. and then I thought this was on the way to the game, but they said it was on the way home. And I went to, I think it was Perth Hospital. No, so my friend got my phone and he was like, "I'm gonna guess Tom's password. My password was 1 2 3 4." Phoned my mum Sheila, and then they were like, "Sheila, Tom's a bit drunk," and they were like, she was like, "What's happened to him?" And then he used to explain that, and they were like, "Oh, we're so sorry," because they had a lot of respect from my mum, and she was like, "Oh, it's fine. Dad's on his way down." So yeah, I got taken to Perth Hospital or Stirling Hospital or whatever. I woke up and I had these tubes on me, and they were like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I'm in Ibrox watching Rangers." They're like, "No, you're getting your belly pumped." And my dad was sitting beside me, and I said, "Dad, see, I'm sorry, but can I get a Burger King on the way home?" So I got a Burger King. My dad was fine, but I could not speak to my mum for days because that was, I mean, obviously I was nearly dead. Like my mate, like it's one of my best mates, and he shows me photos of him putting his finger down, and getting my tongue up and stuff, and. Yeah, the worst thing about it, my season ticket got nicked as well. So someone got my season ticket. But yeah, that was a very quick lesson that I learned after that I should just control my drinking. But yeah, these guys were just mad for the drink, and I was just like, stuff, I'm just going to try it. But yeah, woke up in hospital, got a Burger King on the way home, was rough for a few days. But then the next week I was back on the bus. But as a punishment, it was the same bus driver, and I had to sit where the seat got taken out. So I wasn't allowed to sit in the seat. So I think we were playing like I think Stirling away or something. So it was only to Stirling, but I had to sit on the floor for a punishment, and then all the Big Tom Spews, and I had to get BTS 19 on the back of my shirt. So it was like Big Tom Spew 19 and Battle of Rangers top. So yeah, I still got that to this day as well. So. And then my number plate on my car was big BTS as well. So that was so stupid. That's so stupid.
BTS, it could be Big Tom Stoltman.
Yeah, that's what I was saying it was. It reminded me it was Big Tom. So even to this day, like people come up to me and go, "Oh, you're not the Welsh Stars, man. You're a Big Tom Spew." Remember that phase? I was like,
honestly, that I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that.
There's been a few. There was the other one I got. Where Luke had to pick me up when I was a bit drunk, and he was raging. So that's for a different day.
Just a lot.
And Luke,
I don't.
It's hard to follow that. Like,
I think it was kind of when I started getting into strongman. My first. I had a qualifier for Scotland's Strongest Man, and I was working in Germany in Hamburg, and I was like, when you talk yourself out of something, you think this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? I'm going up against really big strong men. Just stop being an idiot. And back then, I used to drink quite a lot, so we do a 12-hour shift. You do 6 till 6 in Germany, and then I went to the pub, and I had a taxi booked for 5 a.m. in the morning to take me to the airport to go back to Scotland and compete. So I was drinking all the way through until about 4 a.m. and speaking to the barman or the barmaid and saying, she's like, "Look, you need to get ready. You've got Scotland's Strongest Man. You're competing." I said, "Fuck off, man. I'm not. Just getting another beer." So I was drinking constantly, and like this is a story that kind of still to this day I still have that self-doubt. You're like question yourself, self-doubt. But like. I managed to get upstairs, blazing drunk, pack my bag, jump in the taxi, go to the airport, fly into Edinburgh when I was competing, went to the digs, and like slept from about 1 in the afternoon all the way through till 9 o'clock the next morning when we were competing. Went to the venue, and I was like so nervous and just rough as well. I was like, "This is so stupid. What are you doing, like you idiot?" Went there. ended up competing, and then I was just there myself, so I was like full of nerves, anxiety, and all this stuff. But then you all came down, all my family, like mum, dad, you and Harry, Nicky, they all came down to watch us compete and end up winning the show. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And from that day, it was like, this could be something really special. You know, that was like overcoming that fear of, like, I've got to go there by myself, I've got to turn up by myself, I've got to go against all these big men. But I had that realisation, it was like, they're all just, like, they're the same. Everyone's like very nervous, everyone's like full of anxiety, nerves, excitement, like what if I don't do this, what if I was like, just go and do it. Overcame that, end up winning, and from that day, like I've done everything I can to become better and stronger, and don't drink, like only on like events and occasions and
Drink, jeez.
but like weddings and stuff.
No torpedoes.
No, jeez.
I've got another one after as well.
But like, for me, it was just that kind of realisation of like overcoming that, even though you're kind of doing a bit of self-sabotage. Imagine if I didn't do that, how much better I would be. And then from that day, it was like, let's commit to it and really become, you know, that strong man. Better let Tom tell.
That's to do with Harry. I knew this.
All right.
So I mean,
We're here all day
I went to
now.
Rock. I don't know. You've never heard? There's a place. It's Rock Nest. It's a festival up here. I think it was my only first year I went, and I went to do a competition with my best friends. I was with my wee brother Harry, and I said to one of my mates, or Harry's mates, me versus you, beer pongs. Whoever spews loses. So we were going for hours because he was a big guy and I was a big guy, and then. Anyway, I seen him about an hour later go back to his tent, he spewed, and I was like, yes, I won. And then all of a sudden, I passed out, and Harry just had me on his shoulders. He was dragging me out, and everyone was like, hey, what drugs is he on? What drugs is he on? I said, he's not on any, he's just on drink. And then I got dropped off at the car park by Harry. There was a guy in a penis costume who was there, took a selfie with me, did stuff, and then Harry just left me, phoned Luke, and then Luke came with my sister, and he had just come off from offshore. And I spewed all over this car. Best day of my life. Job's a good one. My mum hated me again on that day. But what a moment that was.
Fantastic. It was so nice. Yeah.
I think it was. You should go straight back.
I done like 3 weeks away off from the rig, and then
nice.
had to go and pick up Tom blazing, and he spewed up. It was bad. That was a good story. Well done there. Did you learn anything from that?
Don't drink. I'm not drunk since.
So I just want to leave everybody who's watching and listening with a final word from both of you. Obviously, Tom, you've overcome a lot to achieve 3 times world's strongest man. What would you say to the people watching, listening, who may not be in a great place, or maybe autistic, or have ADHD, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I use a big phrase now. Obviously, people with autism, ADHD, they get labelled a lot. I used to get called disabled, I used to get called everything, but I've changed that to autism is a superpower, and you can do anything you put your mind to it, and I believe that. And autism as a superpower is probably the most powerful thing I've said, and the amount of people that have used that now as well and have that as a quote for themselves is unbelievable. So now I've changed the stigma of autism, and it's a superpower. Tom Stoltman's got it. So you can do what you want, but yeah, autism is a superpower. Fantastic, thank you. And Luke?
I think, like, just someone said to me, if you live like this tomorrow, you can have the best life in your ever. You can have all the happiness, the joy, everything. So if you can do that, but then just meet us tomorrow and we'll have an hour chat, and then you meet the same person the next day, and they keep saying that, live tomorrow like this, and then you can have the best life. It's like, take one day at a time. Just if you are suffering with stuff, like, sometimes it can be overwhelming if you're like, right, hopefully in a year's time I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But just focus on that next day. Like, if I can get by today by being a bit more happier, like being a bit kinder to myself, learn to be kind to yourself. And I think that's really important as well. So just take one day at a time. It's like the same as like one foot in front of the other, that's all it is. It's just, if we can become a little bit better in the day we're living, and then hopefully that next day will be a bit better, then I think we've kind of cracked the depression, the anxiety, everything that we're going through, just little bits, and then that little things create that massive thing, that massive happy life. Because that's all we want to live at the end of the day, isn't it? A happy life. So if we can live a happy day, a happy hour, happy minute, then those little minutes, those little hours, those little days will become something special. So
be careful of the happy hour.
Have you ever? I've been a few of them, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, thank you for both sharing them. Well, we're going to finish on that note.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, just for everybody watching, head over to the Stoltmans, the YouTube, their Instagrams, give them a follow, give them a like, give them a share, and please subscribe to our channel. We really want to keep doing this and keep hearing inspiring stories from people like, you know, the Stoltman brothers, and by subscribing and liking it will really help us to continue to grow and continue to be able to do this. But yeah, a huge thank you for your time today, gents. It's honestly been an absolute honour.
No, it's been class.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for having us
thank
on.
you, gents.
Cheers.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.